Hi friends, welcome back to my studio. I'm Katie. Today I'm going to start what I think is going to be a month-long adventure logging my fountain pen ink swaps. So I really enjoy watching people's currently inks. I think it's a lot of fun, but I haven't ever really been able to participate myself because I don't just ink a set of pens for the month and call it a day. It's a much more fluid experience. I tend to have quite a few by the time the end of the month, but it's pretty fluid. So I thought what it would be fun is to kind of do more like a fountain pen and ink log for the month of May rather than like a static currently inked. So here we are. It's the beginning of May at the time of filming, and I'm going to show you what I currently have inked from leftover from April. Some of them I'm going to keep, some of them I am not. So let's start with the things that are currently inked enough that I'm going to consider it to be for part of May. Some of these are so close to empty, I'm not going to. So for example, this Jinhao 82, which was inked with like a mint kind of green color, is so close to being empty. I'm not going to log that right now. This Platinum Profonti, though, is adequately inked for me to just go ahead and keep it. So unfortunately, this pen is now broken. I broke the cap, which is really sad. This is my first broken pen, but at least it wasn't that expensive. So this is the Platinum Profonti, and it has a 03 nib that I made into kind of a stub myself. And it's currently inked with Birmingham Pen Co. Eroded Bronze. This is the last of this sample, which is part of why I'm continuing to use this pen, even though it's broken. It actually is doing okay. Once I'm done with this ink, I think I will call it quits on this pen, save the nib and obviously the converter. It just doesn't click in properly anymore. It used to have a nice click and it doesn't. So we'll keep that, but I do really love this ink. And I'm not looking to get rid of it. These two are my work pens. That's how it got broken. Most of my pens just stay right here for the month. I mean, all of the time. These two go back and forth to work with me, and so I prefer to do that with cheap pens because sometimes accidents happen. All right, let's start from oldest to newest here in terms of how long things have been inked. So this one I will mark down, although it's probably not far from being done. This is my Sailor Pro Color with a fine nib. I love this pen. Like the nib writing experience. It's inked with Pilot Iroshizuku Asagao. This was my 5-year journal pen for April, and I usually know about how much ink to put in. Yeah, it's pretty close. It's almost empty. So maybe I shouldn't have logged it, but it's not a huge deal. So I will just write this dry in my journal and then it will be done. Also nearly empty, although less old, is this. This is my Pilot Kakuno. I believe there's a fine nib in here, and this is inked with Noodlers. golden brown. I didn't put hardly any ink in this when I inked it because I just wanted it for my weekly spread, this one. And when I inked it, it was already Thursday. I hadn't done my planner the whole first 3 days. So I knew I just wanted to do that. So it won't take long to write this dry, but I do kind of like this color, so we will leave it. This one I'm hoping is done. This one I'm not going to log because it's been inked for several months and it's very close to being done. This is another Jinhao. It's inked with Birmingham Pen Co. Marigolds, and I'm just trying to get through the end of this week in these little things. That should be fine, but then I'm taking that one out of commission. This is getting confusing in terms of which ones I've already talked about, so let's move these. This is actually just one that I have with a highlighter with Neko Nayagi, and I don't actually change that, so that one's... This one is also almost empty. This is my custom Just Turnings pen. It does have an Esterbrook nib in it at the moment, just, you know, because I'm not gonna log that one because it's very nearly done. It's inked with this green that I custom mixed with the Atramentus document colors. I think I'm going to want more of this kind of green, but I have purchased an ink now that is this color. So when this one runs out, which is very soon, I will swap that over. I have a journal that's like just where I like stream of consciousness journal for just one page, and that's the perfect thing for like just writing these things dry that are almost done. This one will log. So this is my Pilot Vanishing Point. It's inked, although not particularly happily, with so this is my Pilot Vanishing Point, and it has a fine nib, and it's inked with Ferris Wheel Blushing Mushroom. And I thought this pen would be wet enough for this ink, and it's not bad. It didn't love making this swatch, but the actual writing is fine. But it's a little bit of a dry ink, and it does have shimmer in it, so that's not excellent. This one is very close to being done. This is a pen from Heinz Pens, this purple ribbon. The nib on it is one of the coolest things in my collection. It's a Waterman 100-year vintage gold nib. It's a semi-flex. It's really, really amazing. It's currently inked with this Van Diemen Spider Orchid. I can't remember the name. Spider Orchid, or to some of the words. But it's very close to done. So we'll leave that here. We'll definitely be re-inking this one. This is the one I'm least confident about, but we'll log it. There's still a lot of ink in here. This is my F3 Pens Pastel Primary Manipulation, and it's got an Omniflex nib in it, Yogo Omniflex, and it's inked with Sailor Manyo Yamabuki. What's interesting about this combination, I did it because this is my favorite yellow ink, and this is one of my favorite nibs. It's just like, it puts enough ink down for these kind of dry multi-shaders to really look good. I really enjoy that about this nib. But actually, it turns out that I like this yellow color. This ink reads more yellow, and I like it more in a slightly drier pen than this one is. It comes off very orange. Where's an example. And I don't dislike it. I'll leave it. It's getting to a time of year where I do kind of want this. But this one might be one that I just empty, like move the ink out of, maybe to a different pen or maybe just take a break. It's been inked for a while and it's got a fair amount of ink in it left because while I like the combination, I don't actually feel the need to write with orange ink very often. So it doesn't get used as much and I might just kind of get tired of it, having it inked. But I will update you when I actually get around to that. But this is really one of my very favorite pens and one of my very favorite nibs. This is my Pilot Prera, and this has an extra fine nib that I actually moved from the Kakuno to the Prera, and it's inked with Sailor Ink Studio 473, which is like a coral kind of color, a vibrant coral, orange, red situation. I have, this is it in a different pen and a different nib. But I'm using this in my 5-year journal. I need to, my 5-year journal isn't fountain pen friendly, really. And so I started it like 2 months before I got into fountain pens. And so I need to write with a decently dry ink and a pretty fine nib size. So that works out great for that. That will be inked all month long. If I run out, I will re-ink it, although I generally know that I go through about 0.4 mils of ink in the course of a month. So that is what is currently inked right now, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pens that are nearly empty. So we're gonna get some turnover here pretty quick. I just need to like do some journaling and some of them will go, and I will jump back in when I start making some swaps. So these two, usually this is about the number of pens I have inked at any time. I like them on this pen rest, and this is pretty much as I can handle. Maybe even one fewer would be good. And then these are my work pens. I don't usually consider them to be in the same kind of pool. Pens that I have that aren't inked include this Esterbrook Estie, which I really want to use. So that will be soon. I've got my Benu Euphoria, which I love deeply, but I'm not feeling drawn to right now in this spring kind of time of year. So we'll keep that on ice. If I choose a color that feels like it will look good with that, I will absolutely ink it. It's not like totally abandoned until the fall, but I am going to prioritize this very spring Estie when the chance comes. So you'll see me soon. Okay, I'm back. It is May 8th. I have finished these two, which were very close to being done. So I gotta wash them out, but I'm ready to re-ink something. So let's ink up this Esterbrook Estie in Sea Glass. I'm gonna ink it with Robert Oster Torquay, which these teals do not come out properly on camera. You're losing a lot of the green here, but I think you're going to lose a lot of the green here as well. So this is this week's spread, and it's a very good match. I'm not sure that you can see it on camera because it's keeping some of the green here and not all of the green there for some mystifying reason. So I'm going to do that. This lettering was done with felt tip pens, but I'm using the Yamabuki that I was disparaging earlier here, and ink. I still haven't looked back up the name for the Black Tongue Spider Orchid. That's what it's called. Down here. Oh, I smudged it. And then it'll be nice to have this kind of teal color, and then the three colors I think will mix really nicely for the week. I used three colors here and really enjoyed it. So I forgot to do this part. So let's go ahead and do it. And also I didn't mention that I barely did more than dip this one. While I am eager to use this Estie more, this color is not what I feel like I'm going to want to have inked up for super long. Maybe I'll change my mind, but I can always add more ink. So I barely did more than dip it. I dipped it and brought a little up, and I can always add more if I want to, but I just have a feeling that I'm not going to want to keep going, but I might. Also, you'll notice I have a non-matching nib in here. The hardware on my Estie is gold. That nib is in another pen at the moment, so it doesn't really bother me. But another reason that I am not committing too hard here is I've got 2 custom nibs in the mail. So I want to use this one first, but I will be very excited to use those when they get here. So I don't want to commit myself too far elsewhere. So it's May 12th, and we've got some more empty pens, both of which were close. So this one I'd never even marked because I knew it was close. It was a carryover from April with a custom mixed diatomaceous green in there, and then this one, the Vanishing Point, had Ferris Wheel Press Blushing Mushroom. And let's do a little pen review thing for the ones that are finished. So I finished the Pilot Kakuna with the Noodler's Golden Brown in it. That had barely any ink, I barely inked it, but this is a nice combo. But a bit prone to smudging. The Noodler's ink doesn't like dry as well as some things. The Ferris Wheel Press Blushing Mushroom is a beautiful color, but I don't think it was the right combination with this pen. Too dry and sparkly for this pen. We got through, and I did do some journaling with it this week that I really enjoyed. But if I'm thinking about mixing pens and inks, not perfect. I also have been journaling with the Yamabuki and kind of fell in love with it again. So I'm not gonna, that one was maybe on my too empty list. I'm gonna leave it for now. Maybe. I'm gonna leave it for now, maybe. We'll see. The 473 in my extra fine Pilot Pereira is going great in my 5-year journal, which isn't fountain pen ink friendly. I haven't finished the Asagao yet in my Sailor, and nor have I finished the Eroded Bronze yet in my Platinum. So those are still pending, and I have been, remember I only dipped really the Esterbrook Estie in this Robert Oster Torquay, but I am actually really enjoying it. So I'm toying with the idea of putting a little more ink into it, because right now I have enough for my weekly spread where I'm just, writing little snippets, but not really enough for any journaling. And I maybe am tempted to journal with it, but I'm holding my horses because later today I have 2 new nibs being delivered, and I really am going to want to play with those. And I'm currently feeling a bit of a shortage of pens that I can put my number 6 nibs in. This one can, and So I've got some options, but it's possible that maybe I'll switch this over to one of the new nibs and then ink it. Because they're new nibs and they are unfamiliar grinds, I'm going to want to not get too uncertain with the inks I'm using, so I prefer to put something in that I know works pretty well and that isn't too dry or too wet. So I'm holding off. It's like it's morning right now, and my mail doesn't usually get delivered until like between 5 and 7 p.m. at night. So despite the fact that I have journaling from yesterday that I really want to do, I kind of want to wait until those nibs are here. So we'll see. Okay, it is the night of Monday the 15th, and I did this layout spread yesterday for the week. I am still using Finding Uses for this Sailor Moon Yamabuki. I used it last week. I'm using it this week. Color scheme is, a lot of the inks are the same, it turns out, even though some of the colors feel a little different in tone. So that pen lives on, and ink combination lives on a week longer. Same for the Estabrook Esty with the Robert Oster Torquay. That one carried over, but I need a pink ink to go with this spread. I have been purposely putting off writing on the days where I need that pink ink, so I really got to get something. I think I'm gonna do Yoseka Ceramics King Yang Z Red is my best guess on how that is pronounced, which they call red but is like a bright pink. I think it's a pretty good match, although I've got other options. The problem is I don't know what pen to put it in. Heinz pen with the Waterman nib is really close, and I really like this ink. And it's a sample that I'm very nearly out of, so there's a part of me that just wants to keep my head down and finish it, but it's been in this pen quite a while and I'm tired of it. So I think I'll just save the ink and let it go. So I still don't know what pink ink I don't know what pen the pink ink is going into. I'm feeling conflicted because I have a nib I want to use, and I can't currently put it in any of my pens, although I can if I empty this one out. So I'm in a little bit of turmoil. The other behind the scenes thing is that I have a pen in the works that would be perfect for this, and so having it in my new nib with the new pen in this color, I want that so bad, and it's just not in hand for me right now. And then I also don't want to make decisions right now that I'm going to be sad about a week from now. But the beauty of the Yoho housings, this one, and the International Standard Converters, is that honestly I can just move something wholesale into a different pen if I want to. So I think I'm going to empty these out, clean these out, and not think too much past these next couple days. So I will be back soon. All right, in the cold light of morning, I was able to actually make some decisions. I did ink this all in the nib, cursive fine italic nib that I recently received, in this Heinz pen with the pink ink. And I can just move things. Again, I didn't fill it super full, nor did I get it all the way through the feed, apparently. This has been a weird month to film this. I decided to film it, before I kind of knew how things were gonna go. I'm just kind of in a funk, I gotta tell you. I just am not really my most engaged self in my planner and my journal. I almost never, in the last like 9 months of journaling, I almost never skip days, and I've skipped several days this week. And I'm not upset about it. This nib isn't great for filling in chunks of space. Anyway, so I've been kind of in a funk. I haven't been journaling nearly as much as I usually do, and just not really particularly motivated. This is my Heinz. I do love this nib. This will be my first time really writing with it more than testing it, but I asked for as fine as you could do and still get like good line variation, and it's both fine and line variation is very pleasant. But I'll have to see what it's like to write with for longer sessions. So I'm going to use this in my weekly planner, and I'm going to journal with it, and I'll let you know later how it's going. All right, it's May 18th. This work pen, which had been pretty much stumbling along for weeks, but I hadn't actually gotten around to cleaning it out or being absolutely sure it was finished, is done now. This isn't a one-to-one swap. I'll probably want another work pen, but it is a one-to-one swap in the sense that it's another Jinhao 82. If you've missed the Jinhao 82 train, it's a good one. I really enjoy it. They come in beautiful colors. These are the 4 I decided to keep. I bought something like 15 of them and mixed and matched the colors and then sold the extras. But they're ProGear Slim knockoffs with number 5 nibs. So anyway, this is one I kept with the intention of inking how I did today, but I hadn't gotten around to it yet. So this kind of gray purple color is like my go-to default color, like when I need a neutral. That's kind of my favorite. And I used to have a Narwhal Nautilus inked up with it, and then I sold that pen. So I haven't had anything inked with that, but I've got 3 books to update in my book log, and I needed something inked. So let's do the currently inked here. So it's just a beautiful gray purple. And this is the, let's see, I guess I'm doing model name first. This is the Jinhao 82. I've been meaning to name all of these, but I haven't named this one yet. If you have a name for what I should call this pen combination, leave it below. But here it is, and this has an extra fine nib, which can be really fine depending on the ink. But the ink that I have in here right now is the Birmingham Everlasting line, which is their like waterproof line, and then the color is Dewberry. And in general, Birmingham inks tend to be on the wetter, or at least not dry side, so it works really well in this extra fine. And it's just, I think it's going to be a good combo, and it's one that I did a decently fullish fill on. I kind of expect that when it's empty, I will refill it. It's kind of my intention to have this as a constantly filled pen and ink combination, so that I can do these kinds of logs that are constantly being updated, and I want to have the right ink for them. So we'll need another work pen ink, but we will delay on that because I'm leaving for an international trip to Paris in 6 days, and I'm not going to want to bring my expensive fountain pens, so we'll probably ink up a couple more Jinhaos for that. Okay, this is going to be our last entry for the month. It is May 23rd, but I head for a family vacation to Paris for the rest of the week, which will take us to the end of the month. So let me talk to you about what I got set up for that trip. So I still have a bunch of pens inked that I haven't finished. We'll talk about them in a minute in like kind of a final wrap up, but I am just not interested in bringing my fancy pens with me on an international flight. I know some people do it, but it's not my idea of fun to spend my time like worrying about my pretty pens. So I'm bringing some favorites, but cheap favorites. The Pilot Prera, the Pilot Kakuno, and the Sailor Pro Color 500. These are all really reliable. I will also bring, I think, this Jinhao 82 that I inked with like a gray. But let me show you what I inked these with. So I've already pre-decorated my weekly planner. My trip goes from Wednesday to Thursday, and so I wanted to have that all set up so that I knew what colors to choose. What I ended up doing is the Pilot Prera was already inked with Sailor Ink Studio 473. That's what I've been using all month in my 4-year journal. 5 or 4-year journal. It was almost empty. I inked it at the beginning of this video. I finished off the sample I had of ink and then actually added some other ink colors to like dull it down a little bit. It was very vibrant, and I'll show you the comparison. So I refilled that with this kind of slightly duller orange red. Then I filled this Kakuno with a mix. So I guess all of these are mixed inks. I really like mixing inks just to get them the nuances exactly the way I want them. This is this olive green that I pulled from this sticker here. And I felt like I needed a little more of that color, so I'd added the washi, and now I've got the pretty nice matching ink. This is a mixture of a yellow and a green, believe it or not. We'll get into that when I fill it in. And then lastly, the other color I'm like the most likely to mix are custom browns. And so I've got this nice desaturated brown in my Sailor Pro Gear. Not Pro Gear, Pro Color. So let's fill these in and we can talk about them a little bit more. Normally, I wouldn't have this many pens inked. I would have tried to finish some of my fancy pens. They're still going. I will review them maybe right now. So let's review these. So my Platinum Profonti still has Birmingham Pen Company eroded bronze in it. And it's almost done, but it's not quite. But I love this combination. It's reliable and subtly. That is the end of this eroded bronze sample I have, and I'll have to decide if I want to do that. The Sailor Pro Color with the Sailor Ishizuku Asagao has been empty for a while now. Great combos, there's not a lot to say about, but that was really beautiful. We've already done the golden brown, the Ferris wheel press. The Sailor Yamabuki, this shows off the orange more than the yellow in this wet Omniflex nib. Pretty, but not my favorite. I've found a lot of uses for it, but not in big swaths of text, so it's taking forever to get here. The Pilot Prera with 473, I like it, but it's very vibrant. Esterbrook SD with Torquay, I think is pretty much done because I've only just dipped it. This is a really fun combo. I really liked it. And I wrote really combo fun. Why not? The Birmingham Pen Company Antique Sepia in this mini cutlass nib. It's a fun nib. Shows off the color, but I got bored with the color more than the nib. I was gonna say, I don't think that grays are for me, but that's not true. I've got some. This Heinz pen with the fine cursive italic with this bright pink, loved it. Absolutely perfect. I only wanted to write with it for days. Let me show you a writing sample. So I was using it in here and here, and it was just hard to want to use anything else. It's not empty yet, although I think it's getting close. And I already want like 3 more of those nibs. I don't know that I can justify that, but I want it. The Jinhao 82 with the dewberry, I will call functional. It's not exciting, but it's doing what I want it to do. No complaints. Okay, so this is the updated Pilot Prera. So you can see I've like toned it down pretty significantly. I hope that'll show up well on camera. It's still quite orange, but it's not quite as vibrant. It's the Pilot Prera with an extra fine nib in it. And this is Sailor Ink Studio 473 plus Herbin Rue d'Encre. Alright, here is this beautiful olive color that I mixed. So this is Pilot Kakuno with a fine nib. And this is a mix of Birmingham Pen Company's Solar Storm, which is a yellow, plus Birmingham Pen Company Zucchini, which is a dark green. So here's the zucchini, very dark, slightly blue tinted, but it's a lot of the ink is there, Solar Storm, which I finished off that sample. So that's gone now. And then lastly, this is the Sailor Pro Color Stardust. Fine. And it's Ink Institute Moon. I can never remember if it's Moonshine or Moonglow. I think it's Moonshine. Nope, it is Moonshine. Great. Plus Herbin Cacao du Brésil. There, laying on the French extra thick for you, since that's where I'm headed. That is all the pens I inked during the course of May. In retrospect, I may have maybe chosen a different month to do this video because this one has been so all over the place. But hopefully you'll find that to be part of the fun. So if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button so I know. Leave me a comment. Do you ink like at the beginning of the month and do it the whole month, or do you ebb and flow the way that I do? I'd be curious to hear. Also, let me know if you want to see more of these videos, if, you know, one was enough. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely month of June. Thanks for hanging out with me all of May, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, friends.